Today we're going to talk about section 1.2, order of operations, and we're going to start by first taking a couple more notes on our Cornell note sheet. So you're still on your chapter 1, Language of Algebra Cornell note sheet, and we're just going to fill in order of operations and algebraic equation. So in order of operations, we know to be please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, or PEMDAS, and we just need to talk about something briefly. It is parentheses, exponents, multiplication and division, put those right next to each other, and addition and subtraction. So you will do all parentheses first, then all your exponents next. When it comes to multiplication and division, though, there's a big misunderstanding here sometimes. You don't always do multiplication first and division second. You do multiplication and division left to right. So if you see a division problem first, then you do the division first, and then multiplication would come after that. So these two go hand in hand. Whichever one comes first, you do it first. Addition and subtraction have a similar partnership. You work left to right. So if there's subtraction and it comes before addition, you do the subtraction before you do the addition. So we need to keep this in mind as we continue throughout the year, that these will always happen together. Multiplication and division left to right, addition, subtraction left to right. An algebraic equation. Numbers, variables, and operations with an equal sign. So now it has to have an equation or an equal sign for it to be an equation, which is the difference between that and an algebraic expression that we talked about the other day, numbers and variables combined by operations with no equal sign. So there's a difference there. Now let's do some example problems here. So on your paper you can write section 1.2, order of operations. Okay, and let's do some example problems. So examples. Number 1, 9 plus 5 plus 12 divided by 3. So parentheses, exponents, multiplication and division left to right, addition and subtraction left to right. So there's no parentheses or exponents. We start with multiplication and division, so that means we must do this division first. At the same time, you could be adding this since this is completely separate if you'd like. So we can do 9 plus 5, which is 14, plus 12 divided by 3, which is 4. And now we can finish by adding these to get 18. We're going to be working in what I call a funnel pattern, working down, no equal signs, just putting the answers down below it. Number 2, 17 times 2 plus 8 times 4. All these multiplications will come before this addition. So 17 times 2 is 34, plus 8 times 4, which is 32. And now we can add these to get 66. We're starting out easy. We'll get a little more challenging here. Number 3, 5 times the quantity, 6 plus 3 times 7 minus 4. Okay? So we're not going to do the 5 yet. We have to do what's in the parentheses. And then once we get into the parentheses, we have to continue to follow what's going on here. So multiplication and division would happen first there. Everything else is going to get repeated. So 3 times 7 is 21, and that gives us positive 21, and we put this minus 4 in here. Now addition and subtraction are done left to right, so we do 6 plus 21, which gives us 27. Keep rewriting everything else. 27, then minus 4 is 23. And the final step, multiplication. So parentheses tell us this is multiplication. Now that we've finished everything inside the parentheses, now we can multiply it by that 5. And that will give us 115. Still working in our funnel here. Number 4, 52 minus 3 times the quantity 4 times 6. Now this is a difficult one because a lot of people want to do 52 minus 3 on the outside of the parentheses first. But we have to first begin inside the parentheses. This isn't saying 52 minus 3. It's saying 52 minus 3 times whatever 4 times 6 is. So we've got to do 4 times 6 first to get 24. Multiply that by, rewrite everything else, Multiply that times 3, we get 3 times 4 is 12, raised to 1, 3 times 2 is 6, and we get 72. Now, you can think of this two ways. You can either subtract this whole thing, or think about this as a negative 3 that you're passing, or multiplying times the 24, which will give us negative 72. Either way, it comes out to be subtraction, and 52 minus 72, that's the same as adding a negative 72. So we're really subtracting those, which gives us 20. This guy is large and in charge because he has a negative sign, he's the big guy, then the final answer will be negative. Moving right along here. Number 5. 5 plus 3 times 7 minus 4 times 2 plus 5 times 7. So we've got to do all our multiplication first. All of these guys first. Everything else gets rewritten. 3 times 7 is 21. Negative 4 times 2 is negative 8. And 5 times 7 is 35. We'll keep working down our funnel. Now, we have to go left to right, addition and subtraction. So we need to do one step at a time here. 5 plus 21 gives us 26, and the rest of this needs to be rewritten. Now, 26 minus 8 gives us 18 plus 35, and then we finish 18 plus 35 to get 53, working down that funnel. So when you get to this step right here, you can't do this addition and then finish the problem. That won't give you the same answer. You have to be very careful there. Number 6, we are going to start evaluating. So let's actually move this down so we have a separate set of directions here. We're evaluate. All right, where A equals 2, B equals 5, N equals 10, and X equals 4. So we still have to use our order of operations. The original problem is the quantity 2x squared plus AN minus 5B. Now when you evaluate, you want to plug these in parentheses. So I'll show you what I mean. 2 times x, which is 4, close that parentheses squared, plus 2 times 10 minus 5 times 5. So you want to put them in parentheses so we know that if there's no other operational symbol, then it should be multiplied. Now, we need to do the parentheses here first, but we can also go ahead and do these multiplications here. So we get 20. This gives us negative 25. Now here we get 2 times 4, which is 8, which we need to square. 8 squared will give us 64. Plus 20 minus 25. Adding and subtracting left to right, this gives us 84 minus 25, which will give us 59. If we continue to use the same values to evaluate with, number 7, we get a bracket, which is just another parentheses. A plus 8 times the quantity B minus 2. The whole thing squared divided by 4. So we have to start within the parentheses or the brackets, and within that we have to start with the inside parentheses, which we need to plug in what we know here. So A is 2 plus 8, B is 5 minus 2 squared divided by 4. Now notice I didn't use parentheses here because there is an operational symbol right next to it. So now you cannot do 2 plus 8. You need to do 5 minus 2 first, which will give you 3. Leave those parentheses. You unfortunately have to rewrite everything else. 8 times 3 is 24. Plus 2 gives us 26. I can change those parentheses if you want. It means the same thing. 26 squared gives you 676, and we finish that out by dividing by 4, and we get 169. Still working in our funnel, working from the inside out of those parentheses. A couple more examples. Number 8. We're going to use the same values. Negative 3x squared minus 2b plus a divided by x. So start by plugging in. Negative 3 times 4 squared minus 2 times 5 plus 2 divided by 4. Now, you can start doing some of these more than one step at a time. So we know we have to do the exponent first, which is 4 squared, which gives us 16. And 16 times negative 3 will give us negative 48. So if you want to start skipping a few steps, but you do need to show overall what your steps are here. Now, within the parentheses here, we need to do this multiplication, so we get negative 480. Ooh, never mind, that's not multiplication. That's a subtraction symbol right there. Got to be careful with that. Sorry about that. So we get negative 58 plus 2. Again, subtraction comes before addition because it's going left to right. So we get negative 56 because we're really subtracting these. This guy is large and in charge, so we keep the sign of the large number, negative 56, divided by 4, and that gives us negative 14. When you divide and the signs are different, the sign is negative. If the signs were the same, then the sign would be positive. One final example, number 9. 2 times 4 squared minus 8 divided by 2 over 5 plus 2 times 4 divided by 2. This is just a simplify, not an evaluate. Well, we are still evaluating too, so it could be either, but we already have all of our variables, so we're just working through the problem here. So we've got to do our exponent first, which makes that 16. And then we're going to do our multiplication and division. So 4 squared is 16. 16 times 2 is 32. Minus 8 divided by 2, which is 4. That's in our numerator. That's the top, the numerator. On the bottom, we have to start in the parentheses. So we get 5 plus 2, which is 7. So we get 7 times 4 divided by 2. The multiplication must happen first. So let's continue down our funnel. 32 minus 4 would give us 28. 7 times 4 gives us 28. We have to divide that by 2, so we get 28 over 14. And then 28 divided by 14 gives us 2 for the final answer. So continue to use the order of operations, keeping in mind the most important piece is that multiplication and division are done left to right, addition and subtraction are done left to right.